What up, people? It's the Dub Podcast on I Live for Saturdays, the best college football channel on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at I Live for Saturdays. 4 as in the number 4. And it's the offseason, man. And recruiting is done. National Signing Day has passed. I said I was going to do something with recruiting or something. And I'll be honest, I'm not even sure exactly what to talk about when it comes to recruiting, okay? I like to watch a lot of recruits. I love recruiting. I like to see young kids signing up for the next 4 years of their life or stepping into another great chapter in their life of already great success. It's awesome. It's awesome stories left and right. Some kids are just following the footsteps of their dad, or some kids are creating new paths of their families that their families have never been into. Some kids are buying a ticket out of poverty. And some kids are just middle-class people just trying to be great and making a name for themselves. Whatever the story is, it's usually a freaking awesome story. Or a really cool story at the very least. But I don't know what to say exactly when it comes to recruiting. What do I say? Yes, this 4-star is good. I don't have any inside sources. And I think some people at some point early in I Live for Saturdays thought I had some inside sources. Some people were asking me, hey, where do you think this kid's going to go? I don't know. I'm just a dude out here who loves college football, who loves reading college football articles, loves reading about high school football programs, watching college football, preparing for the draft, or watching a bunch of stuff for the draft, and watching NFL football. I'm just a guy who loves football, but I am no insider kind of guy. I've never been that. I've never claimed that in my entire life. But here's one thing I find really interesting about recruiting. And I don't really understand why, but Alabama just rips off number 1 classes every single year, and no one isn't amazed by it. It's almost as if no one is amazed by it. And I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in the history of anything. This is almost like a monopoly type thing. Like, I don't think we have seen anything like this since Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller. Like, we haven't seen monopolies like this. Maybe, okay, Time Warner Cable and Comcast Cable kind of thing, monopolies. Sure, that. But I don't think we've seen blatant monopolies like Alabama is in recruiting. And I am not faulting Alabama in any sort of way. And I'm not trying to demonize Alabama in any sort of way. I am absolutely impressed of how they can continuously bring in number 1 recruiting class after number 1 recruiting class after number 1 recruiting class after 5-star after 5-star after 4-star after 5-star. It is unprecedented. It is one of the most astonishing things any of us has ever seen and ever been a part of. It is unbelievable, and I just want to give continuous credit to Alabama. And actually, it is so amazing that it makes me fucking sick to my stomach as a fan of Virginia Tech football. While we're out here struggling and sad about not landing a 3-star offensive tackle, and I'm not going to say his name or who he is, but you know, he's a great kid, and he would have been an awesome addition to our team, and I'm not saying he would have at any way. I'm not trying to disrespect the kid, but we're out here trying to pick up scraps of guys who would not even touch Alabama's roster. Like, that is where we at this point. Like, that's what we're trying to do out here, some programs. And it does make me sick that even there is players that will elect not to play any football for an entire year. They will gray shirt just to play at Alabama. Alabama's got a wait list. Alabama's got a fucking wait list. That is crazy. That is insane. How the fuck do you get a wait list on a scholarship-driven type sport? Like, where everyone is fighting for school money. That is unbelievable that you can convince a player, hey man, don't do anything for a year so that you can play on my football team. Even though you can play on any other program in the country, and you probably could start on 95% of those programs first year, we want you to wait a whole year to play on our program. That's insane all the way to where it makes me sick to my stomach, but I'm also very impressed. I'm also very, very, very impressed. And here, a criticism, strong criticism actually angry criticism, to that Tennessee fan who I retweeted and I tweeted at during National Signing Day, where he went after 17 and 18-year-olds who want to play at Alabama. And he said something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing here, but said something along the lines of, hey, man up and be your own man and stop being a follower and be... How about Tennessee just recruit better? Ever thought of that, motherfucker? How about just Tennessee recruit better? And the dude got a bunch of retweets. I'm not just talking about some lone wolf guy. Like, he is like a big, not a big time, but a decently known Tennessee Twitter account that got a decent amount of retweets. Like, I think it was somewhere in the 90s. How about your school just recruit better? How about your fucking school start throwing out money? You know, I'm not saying Alabama does or doesn't. I'm just saying, why don't y'all motherfuckers actually be committed? How about you hire a coach that knows and can be composure? How about you hire a fucking coach that doesn't say, I recruit players with 5-star hearts and we're champions of life? How about that, motherfucker? How about that? Don't fucking criticize 17 and 18-year-olds because they want to better their lives and their families. Because they know Alabama is the best fucking football program in the country. So you're telling me if you were a 17 and 18-year-old, you would rather to go to Ohio State medical school? I don't even know if they had a medical school. Or let's say law school. Again, I don't even know if they have a law school or not, but I'm just saying. To Ohio State Law School than to Yale or Harvard Law? Man, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. How about you just have a better football program? You punk-ass motherfucker. Like, yes, and I am upset about that. Fuck you. Fuck anybody that retweeted that, liked it, who looked at that tweet and was like, yeah, that is an awesome take. That's a great take. Now, fuck you. Criticizing 17 or 18-year-old kids and making a good decision to actually making one of the best decisions in their life. Man, fuck you. And a quick thing, I don't think now out of criticizing people and I'm on to giving credit to people. Shout out to Steve Sarkisian. Man. Give him credit again, and I'm sure I did in the last podcast. He had 10 days to prepare against the second best team and now best team in the country, Clemson Tigers, up against a top 3 quarterback in this year's draft. A team that has won, I think, 26 games or 27 games in the last 2 years, to have a game plan ready and to put up some good, a decent amount of points and to put up some good yards with a freshman quarterback, nonetheless. Shout out to Steve Sarkisian in that game plan, and shout out to the Atlanta Falcons for seeing how great Steve Sarkisian is and hiring him as their offensive coordinator. I don't think they miss a beat with Kyle Shanahan. I think actually they get better. If you look at Steve Sarkisian, if Steve Sarkisian was at Alabama for a month or so, and by at Alabama for a month or so, I mean like was the offensive coordinator, was the true offensive coordinator for at least a month or a little over a month, I think Alabama wins that game. I think he puts up so many points that you can't even fucking stop. I think Steve Sarkisian is better than Lane Kiffin. Look at what Steve did at Washington. Look at what he did at USC, by the way. He made Matt Leinart into a first-round quarterback. He put up points out there. He made Washington, a team that was going 0-12, and turned them into a formidable program. Now today, with Chris Peterson, he brought them all the way to the semifinals. That started with Steve Sarkisian. He literally had nothing in a state where they have, 6 Division 8, Division 1 football players? And then he was good enough to be brought back to USC. If it's not for the drinking problem that he had, Steve right now at USC, fuck winning the Rose Bowl, Steve would have brought them all the way to the semifinals. Steve Sarkisian is a real fucking football coach. Like, he is a brilliant mind. And Steve Sarkisian and the Atlanta Falcons, to me, is a match made in heaven. If I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan, I am so excited for Steve Sarkisian. Steve, Sark, my man, good luck at Atlanta. And I'm not an Atlanta fan, by the way. They actually lost me money in the Super Bowl, and I'm very upset about that. They were up 28-3, man. But Steve, Sark, congrats, buddy. I hope the alcohol stuff is in the past, or whatever the hell happened to you. I hope it's in the past, and I hope you can move forward. Very happy for you because you're a fantastic coach from what I've seen and a fantastic human being. And so I do get pretty political on the podcast, but I try not to give my full-on political opinions. Like, I don't blatantly come out and say it. But here's my new rule. When it comes to this brand new administration, when there's funny-ass stuff that happens to this new administration that we have, I will come out and bust the jokes out. Okay? Because there is going to be some funny-ass shit that's going to come out. All right? Because I don't care what nobody says. This whole administration media thing and everybody involved is a fucking circus. And there's a lot of funny-ass shit. And for you, I don't care whether you're a big supporter of this administration or not or whatever. You don't fucking deny that this shit is funny as hell. Okay? So if there's anything like that, for future reference, I will not show you my full-on political opinion unless I agree with this president on something, because there are issues I do agree with this president. There's a few issues I actually agree with this president. I will show you my political opinion when I agree, because I'm trying not to step on people's toes and trying not to offend too many people or lose viewership. But when there's funny ass shit, I will criticize him. And this is one thing I want to criticize Trump with. When this is probably going to be one of the few, if not the only occasion where I will criticize Trump. Mainly because I can relate it to football. And that is pretty much the only reason why I'm doing this. Because if I couldn't, I wouldn't. I'm not the most wokest person out here. I know I joke on my personal account. I'm the wokest motherfucker out here. I'm just joking, okay? There's some things I'm trying to be real with. But for the most part, I'm half truthing it. I'm half woking it. You know, it's sometimes, yes, I am fully on my wokeness. Okay, but for the most part, I'm kind of joking in some sense or another. Okay, anyway, I had to make that full disclaimer because motherfucker's gonna be out here saying some bullshit. So I just wanted to get that out. Anyway, I have no idea how we elected Donald Trump. And I'm not saying, Hillary Clinton, that she was some perfect, because she wasn't. I criticized Hillary Clinton. I criticized Obama. I even criticized my favorite guy of the whole damn thing, Bernie Sanders. Right? Like, I criticized everybody. I don't think anybody was a perfect candidate. Nobody. And that's just how the world works. If you think any president or any candidate is ever a perfect candidate, or even really almost perfect candidate, you're a crazy person. You're a lunatic. There's no perfect candidate in any world, because this world is freaking gray. It's not black and white. And it's funny to me, Donald Trump, how this man got elected. If I told you a first-round quarterback, okay, regardless, let's just say he was really talented. Let's say for some reason Donald Trump is some super talented, and whatever your opinion is, let's just say Donald Trump is very talented. Let's say he is a very good president. Let's say that. But I also told you, yeah, this quarterback, very talented, but he's got a shady past. He said some weird things about women. He's been accused many times of sexual assault. He tweets too much. He attacks the media constantly. He is constantly on the offensive when it comes to criticism. Would you draft that quarterback? If you answered yes, congratulations, you are the Cleveland Browns. Congratulations. Good job, Cleveland. Good job, Cleveland fans. Now let's say you still drafted this quarterback, Cleveland Browns. Let's say you drafted this quarterback. Congratulations, you got Johnny Manziel. No, I'm playing. Not Johnny Manziel bad. Johnny Manziel can't play. All right. But he has somewhat tools. But let's say you still draft this guy. Super talented guy still. But he was constantly being a distraction in the locker room with his media talk and his constant things and all that stuff and constantly attacking. Very immature. Not the leader. Half of the locker room hates him. And half of the locker room that hates him, he still attacks them. Who would keep this guy after year one? What franchise? Even the Cleveland Browns got rid of Johnny Manziel. They even got rid of Ryan Leaf, who was still pretty talented. Ryan Leaf was hella talented. He was just one of the more immature players you've ever been around. After year one, this guy needs to get axed. Or after term one, this guy needs to get axed. Regardless of what you agree with his political opinions or not. This man, based on maturity, based on leadership qualities, deserves to get axed. And I'm not saying whether I agree with his political... Yo, if my favorite candidate was Bernie Sanders, if this dude was acting like this, I'd say axe that dude today. Axe him today. Impeach him. Find a way to impeach him. And then get him out of office. That's what I'd say. And as bad as much as I disagree with Mike Pence, because I do not agree with a lot of his policies and his past policies and all this other crap, I would rather have Mike Pence. Because at the very least, he can show some leadership. He can act mature. He won't constantly attack the media. He won't constantly be whining and crying and tweeting up at late nights. At the very least, I know I get from Mike Pence a mature player. Let's say DeShone Kizer, same guy. Everyone agrees he's got the tools, he's got the size, he's got everything. Let's say DeShone Kizer was doing the exact same thing. DeShone Kizer would not get drafted. If Deshaun Watson, and I know DeShone Kizer is much more talented than Deshaun Watson, and I love Deshaun Watson is a super mature motherfucker, all right? That is the mentality you want at the quarterback position, okay? This guy is, I would love to have him at the Chicago Bears, by the way. I would love to have Deshaun Watson. I don't think he's necessarily the greatest and most talented quarterback in this draft, but I would love to have Deshaun Watson because he's so fucking mature. He works so damn hard. He is buttoned up, and he's a true leader. Okay, but let's say DeShone Kizer was the complete opposite, right? Doing exactly what Donald Trump does with the exact history and the exact past as Donald Trump. And DeShone Kizer got drafted over Deshaun, first quarterback. People would be absolutely astounded and astonished that happened. And the team that drafted Deshaun Watson will be better off than the team that will be set back for years in this hypothetical DeShone Kizer scenario. Because at least Deshaun, okay, let's keep Deshaun. He didn't work out, but let's keep him as a backup quarterback because he's a mature guy. He's a professional. He is buttoned up. He is a guy we would love to have in our organization. DeShone Kizer, that is a wasted draft. That is a wasted roster spot. He needs to go. We need to cut him immediately, and we just wasted a first-round pick or a second-round pick on a guy who didn't even make our roster. That is Donald Trump. Don't give a fuck if you agree with his policies or not. Donald Trump is a bad drafted quarterback. Is a poorly drafted quarterback in the first round. Yeah, I got my not so early rankings. This is pretty much going to be it in terms of my preseason rankings. I don't believe in let's wait for the spring game and watch these teams. And forget all that, man. It's all about the recruiting. What kind of talent do you have? What kind of talent have you brought in the past? How well is your recruiting? That's what wins national titles. Don't care what nobody says. That's what wins national titles is recruiting. Now, when you get those recruits, you have a top coach, right? That's what's going to push you over the edge. But at the end of the day, if you can't recruit, you cannot win. You cannot win games. You cannot win trophies. You need to recruit. Recruiting is everything. That's how this game works. And I have compiled the only teams that actually have a real shot rankings 2017. And here's my chart. And it's not going to move too much since last year because that's just how the world works, right? We just dropped 1 year of recruiting, 2013, and we added the 2017 recruits. And you can see the chart right there. Ole Miss and Oklahoma. Very good recruiting classes, lots of good talent, but they will not have a shot or they will not win the national title, I would say. I guarantee you right now, Oklahoma and Ole Miss will not win a national title. Now, can they win the SEC? Can they win the Big 12? Sure, that's up for grabs. But to say, can they win the national title? No, they don't. They're not talented enough. They don't have the top-heavy talent that's in the top 11 of players in the country, or top 11 recruiting classes in the country. So, really quick, let me explain exactly how this works. If you have 2 recruiting classes in the top 11, statistically, it was top 10, but I moved it to top 11. Statistically, in the last 20 years, you will have a shot at winning a national title, and only top 11 recruiting classes have won a national title in the past 21 years, I think it is now, maybe 22, I think now. Clemson, I did it last year. They had 2 recruiting classes in the top 10. But I think it actually moved when I did that ranking, because I think I did that ranking back in like March, and then it moved in like late June because recruiting never ends really, and teams are still adding pieces and players and JUCOs and trying to get a kid in at the last second before the enrollment final deadline is. So sometimes it moves, but Clemson only moved to top 11. And I didn't move it because of Clemson moved to top 11. I'm just moving it because percentage-wise, when this first started, the top 10 recruiting classes, there was only like 96 teams in the country. Now there's 126. And in terms of average, in terms of average and trying to correlate it, it is now shifted to top 11. So yeah, here is my chart and here are my rankings, final rankings. The only teams that actually have a real shot in 2017. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Florida State. Number 3, Ohio State. Number 4, LSU. Number 5, UGA. Number 6, USC. Number 7, Auburn. Number 8, Tennessee. Number 9, Texas A&M. That actually surprised me. Number 10, Notre Dame. Number 11, Florida. Number 12, Clemson. 13, Texas. And 14, Michigan. Michigan, actually, by the way, I probably will make a video later, but expect Michigan not be as good as they were last year. I think Harbaugh's fantastic, but he's got less talent this year than he did last year, even though he's been phenomenal in recruiting. So yeah, man, there's my rankings. There's the preseason rankings. I'll get a final ranking at the end of July, because that's where I think enrollment needs to. No, I'm sure it's August actually where it ends, where most schools for final enrollment. But I think by that time, all the kid players will be already signed with their letters of intent. So yeah, follow us on Twitter at I Live for Saturdays 4 as the number 4. Also, check out Don V Fridays. My boy Don V. I think he just texted me now. He's doing Don V Fridays. Fantastic, by the way. Shout out to my boy Don V. Fantastic first podcast of Don V Fridays. It was last week. I'll put a link down below. Check it out. It was great. I'm actually hyped up for more Don V Fridays. I'm hoping he will continue doing it and be more consistent than I am, because I'm not that consistent in doing these videos. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at I Live for Saturdays 4 as in the number 4. Get us to 900 followers. And peace.